as Katie just said, is Clark Roberts. He's the executive director and founder of Ultimate Vision. Ultimate Vision, inspiring others to see in new ways, is a nonprofit organization that teaches people of all ages that life does not stop when adversity occurs. At age 24, Clark lost his sight to retinitis pigmentosa. He discovered that when life hits, you have to learn how to embrace the challenge, find your potential, and live life to its fullest. Clark has a natural gift of humor, is married to his amazing wife, Carrie, and has a son who is married and a daughter that is attending college. Each of them love to mess with him regarding his sight loss. Clark is also an author and enjoys storytelling. He's an outdoor and sports enthusiast who loves to downhill ski, tandem cycle, water ski, drive rally cars, jump out of perfectly good airplanes, swim and hike in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. All right, let's welcome Clark.
So good morning, and I hope all of you are well and ready to learn. So today I want to share with you ways that you can transform the T in can't. An interesting word, but it's a negative word. We're going to see how it can be turned around to become a positive situation in your life. So let's get started and have some fun. First of all, I need you all to close your eyes completely tight. As your eyes are closed, I want you to think about all of your sports, your music, your hobbies, everything that you enjoy doing. And then a doctor steps into your world and tells you that within the next 15 years, you're going to be totally blind. Nothing that you can do to change or to alter the course other than to accept it or to reject it. What will you do? You may now open your eyes. You see, that's where I was as an 18-year-old freshman attending the University of Idaho, and I had everything in front of me. I knew where my life was going. I was prepared. I had planned. And then on a very cold, gray day on February 28th of 1973, as I sat in a doctor's office in Pullman, Washington, listening to the doctor telling me that I have a disease known as retinitis pigmentosa. That afternoon, as he told me that I have the disease of retinitis pigmentosa, I got very mad, frustrated, angry, but most of all, scared. Scared because I did not know how I was going to live my life. On the 8 short mile drive from Pullman, Washington back to Moscow, Idaho, the questions running through my being was the fact of could I, would I, should I even have a life? Before I knew it, the car was in front of my dorm. I got out of the car, I slammed the door, and I climbed 3 flights of stairs up to my dark, empty room. My roommate, a junior pre-veterinary major, was in the library, would not be back until midnight. So I tore off my coat, threw it in a corner, and I went and I sat on my dormitory floor. And as I sat on my dormitory floor, I bawled like a baby, thinking about the fact that my life is now in pieces. Because you see, as I sat there on my floor, I didn't know if I could have a life, because what I knew about blindness and blind people was that they got to exist. And existence wasn't what I wanted to do. So I thought about checking out and being done with my life. I'm here today to tell you that life is a very precious gift. Do not throw it away. There's key 1. Don't throw life away. Unwrap it, cherish it, and share every moment that you get. Now, as I began to live this life as somebody who couldn't see, I needed to start to try. First way that you can change can't from negative to positive is I can try. Interesting thing. Every time that I got ready to start to try and do something as a blind individual or accepting my blindness and moving forward, all of these people would say, Clark, you can't do that because if you do, you're going to fall on your face and break your nose. Bummer. Okay, well, that's out the window. I get another idea. You're going to fall on your face and break your nose. Huh. One afternoon, as I was counseling with a friend of mine, a pastor friend, I said, Ellis, everybody keeps telling me that if I try something, that I'm going to fall on my face and break my nose. He kind of leaned back in his chair. He says, well, Clark, what's so bad if you try and you fall on your face and break your nose? Because you see, you never know if you're going to fail. You never know if you're going to fail if you don't ever try. So you need to try. Katie Ledecky, Olympic swimmer, said 2 weeks ago, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to try. She's had a pretty incredible last 2 weeks of racking up gold medals. Carl Lewis said it's not about the outcome. It's about the journey, which tells me it's about trying. Or this quote, our accomplishments in life are not measured by our abilities or disabilities, but rather by our willingness to try. If you never try, you don't know what you can do. So this week, as you're at Washington Business Week, you need to try to see what you can learn and move forward with as you try. Second way we change can't is to trust. So first you try and then you trust. Trust means to rely upon someone or something totally, completely. Trust is something that I do every single moment of every single day. And if I don't trust, I don't get to do anything. When my feet hit the floor first thing in the morning, I'm trusting myself to get myself from my side of the bed to the bathroom without running into anything. Ever been there? Then I go about all my day. If I decide to leave my house, my office, and go someplace, I'm going to trust my dogs. You see 2 dogs laying on the floor. The golden one, she's my working guide dog. She's been working for me for 7 years. Her name is Aurelia, and she's a golden retriever Labrador cross. The other big white dog, he's actually a yellow Labrador, purebred, 14 and a half years old. His name is Arbuckle. We call him Arby. He worked for me for 7 years. But you see, I've trusted and do trust both of those dogs to take me out into society and get me from point A to point B and get there safely. Maybe this morning you walked into your favorite coffee shop to get a cup of coffee and maybe something else. First of all, you trusted the barista to get for you exactly what you ordered. Then you trusted the barista to charge your debit card, your credit card, or maybe you gave them cash to give you back the right amount of change or to debit your card exactly the right amount. Trust, trust, trust. To rely upon someone or something totally. I am an avid tandem cyclist. Every time I climb on the bike, I have to trust the individual sitting in the front seat, that's called the captain's seat, that he's going to make it possible for us to get where we want to go safely without running into anything, anyone, anybody. I have to also be willing to trust the bike, that the bike's not going to fall apart when we're out rolling down the road at 35, 40 miles an hour. But it's trust. Trust, trust, trust. To rely upon someone or something totally. This week during Washington Business Week, you're going to be trusting the members of your team, your company. You're going to trust them that, first of all, that they're going to show up. They're going to show up and do their part of the project. They're going to accept their responsibilities as they try and as you trust them. Trusting them to do that exactly. It's just like in any other business organization. You trust your coworkers. You trust your boss. You trust the fact that you've got the best product that you're going to put out on the market so that your company can be the best. But it starts by trusting. Trusting yourself, trusting your coworkers, trusting your product, and going out there and being the best that you can be. First you try, then you trust, and then you are teachable. I can be taught. Every single one of us needs to have an attitude of learning. You came to Washington Business Week this week to learn about business. Every single one of us at each particular moment of our life needs to have that attitude of being teachable and learning, because if we don't continue to learn, you don't get to go anywhere. You become stagnant. These last 2 years during COVID came, and our business, which is walking into schools, educational venues, businesses and business organizations, and being in front of people, came to a screeching halt. And we had to decide what we were going to do so that we could turn around and still do the things that we wanted to do. And that meant going online and doing things online. And I'm like thinking, okay, how does that work? I had never even heard of Zoom. And then once I even heard of Zoom, I'm like thinking, okay, so how do I, as a visually impaired business owner, make Zoom work? Didn't know how to even get onto it. Didn't know how to use the chat room. Didn't know all of those types of things. But I was willing to learn, to become educated, so that I could use Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and all the other platforms that are out there to continue presenting, continue moving forward. Just like you're doing this week, you are learning and becoming better so that you can work in business. As stated in the bio, I am also an avid downhill skier. I had learned how to ski at the age of 9. After the doctors diagnosed me, I thought skiing was done, over. Hadn't told anybody my thoughts, hadn't told anybody. One day my sister comes busting through the back door of our house after about a year after I'd been diagnosed with my eye disease. She says, Clark, you can learn how to ski with your eyes closed. And I'm like thinking, okay, sis, you went skiing today, didn't you? You said, yeah. Did you fall? Well, maybe once or twice. Because you see, I thought she was just a little whacked. She had found that there was a ski instructor up at Bogus Basin where we skied all the time, who could teach me how to ski with my eyes closed. I met Jack and went through the process and learned how to ski with my eyes closed. Because you see, I was willing to be teachable. I was willing to learn. One of the other things that you need to do as you're learning and being teachable is being able to turn around and use what you learn to teach others. Currently, we are through our business are starting to become life coaching, doing a life coaching program. That means coming alongside of others who are losing their eyesight, showing them that life still exists, life can still go forward, life can still become full if they choose to, but using my experience to show them how that life still works. Life can still exist. Yes, I don't have all the answers, but I'm able to walk alongside of them and show them where those resources are, just like you, as you walk through life. You learn how to be the best in business and school, wherever other aspect. But then you're able to come back and to become a mentor for somebody who needs you to be a mentor. Another tool that I use that I continue to learn about is my smartphone. With my voiceover programs, it still allows me to be able to be out mobile and do the things that I want to do as far as checking my email, sending texts, communicating, booking appointments. But you see, it's because I'm willing to have an attitude of being teachable. So first you try, then you trust, then you're teachable, and then you transform. I can be transformed. Changing the way that you look at things mentally, having different attitudes about areas that you walk into and out of in life, having your thoughts, having your perspectives, not being an individual that basically somebody sells you something and you go, okay, that's how it's supposed to be, but willing to be open-minded, willing to be transformed so that you could have the right thoughts and to be that individual that can go out there and to live an incredible, wonderful, awesome life because you have allowed yourself not to be closed up, but to have an open, positive mindset about how things are going to work in and through life so that you can be transformed. When we go into schools and everything, we tell the school that we're coming into, touch a child's heart, inspire a child's mind, and to transform their future, giving them hope, confidence, kindness, so that they can be transformed and they can go out and make a difference in society, because each and every one of you can be positive and you can make a difference and you can have that difference in society. First you try, then you trust, then you're teachable, then you're transformed. And if you do all of that, then you can thrive. Thrive means being fulfilled, being excited, living in a positive way in those particular areas. When the challenges come, knowing that if you put everything in place that you can thrive through the adversity, you can thrive through everything that's thrown at you. You can thrive and you can be excited, you can be full, and you can be moving forward. But it starts by having the right attitude. starts by putting everything else in place. As you try, as you trust, as you're teachable, as you're transformed. And as you walk this week through Washington Business Week, know that you need to put all of that in place to be the best business person, to be the best partner in your company, to be the best in school, to be the best at home, in your home, in all of the relationships that you have. But it starts by trying, trusting, being teachable, transformed, and thriving. Our accomplishments in life are not measured by our abilities or disabilities, but rather by our willingness to try. Live your life in a way that encourages others to live their life in a new way. And have an awesome week at Washington Business Week.
Awesome. Are there any questions for Clark?
Hi, Clark. My name is Nathan. I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm wondering, what do you mean when you say you should be a lifelong learner? What do you call a lifelong learner?
What do you call what? Wait.
How would you define a lifelong learner?
A lifelong learner. A lifelong learner is one who is always being challenged to learn something new. Not stopping, not just basically feeling like that you have learned it all. You as you walk through life each and every day, each and every week, you constantly are learning. So as long as throughout your entire life that you have this mindset to continue to be educated, to continue to learn, and to put those things into practice, that's a lifetime learner.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Are there any other questions for Clark?
Yeah, so first off, thank you so much. It was great hearing from someone, from you as someone who's been through so much. So when things became challenging, how did you keep going and not give up on yourself?
When things became challenging, how did I keep going? Well, first of all, like with any challenge, you have to walk through your grieving process out, however long that is, however you walk through that. But I had a very incredible family who continued to show me that life would be okay. I have an incredible faith in God that gave me the strength to interact with each and every day. So, it was just a lot of encouragement from family, friends, that I could continue moving forward and I could continue to have a life if I chose to. Because with anything, it's you, me, that makes that choice to continue.
Hi, Clark. My name is Randy. Hey, can you maybe share a little bit about kind of the events and things that happened to help you get from that trust to teachable, into that open-mindedness point in this process? That just feels like a real pinnacle point.
Can somebody help me out? He was breaking up a little bit. I don't think I caught everything that he was asking me.
Yeah, he was just asking when you felt how you got from like trust to teachable in those moments.
How I got from trust to teachable. Well, I don't know that I got from trust to teachable. I believe that the two work in tandem with each other, because as somebody's teaching you, whatever they're teaching you, you have to be willing to put your trust in that individual. I'll go back to tandem bike riding. First time that I got on a tandem bike, I didn't know really whether or not I could even ride a bike anymore. And I hadn't been on a bike since I'd probably been maybe 14, 15 years old. So it'd been probably a good 15, 16 years that I'd ever been on a bike. So if you're not willing to allow somebody to show you and teach you, but at the same time that they're showing and teaching those concepts, those principles to you, if you're not willing to give them your full trust, you're going to be working against each other. And that's not a good situation when you've got somebody who's trying to explain something to you and to give you the knowledge that you need to move forward if you're not willing to trust them. So I guess I believe that the two work hand in hand.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we have a we have a question here from Jacob, and he says, what was your motivation to get out of that mindset of giving up when you came back from the hospital?
What was that mindset of not giving up?
What was your motivation to get out of that mindset?
What was my motivation? Some of it had been my family, as far as my background and growing up and realizing that the giving up was not an option. I have a father who had contracted polio at a very young age and didn't give up, and because they told him that he wasn't going to walk again, but he did end up being able to continue walking. I also have a younger brother who has Down syndrome, so I had been in and around physically challenged people pretty much all my life, and seen the fact that, yes, I mean, maybe life wasn't going to be exactly how I thought it was going to be, but I could still move forward and I could still have a life. And it was my responsibility to make that choice as far as what I was going to do with it. But probably the biggest motivation was the fact that God didn't want me to throw my life away. That life is a gift. And I believe to this day that my sight loss is a gift, because if I hadn't gone blind and interacted with the things that I interact with, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing with my nonprofit corporation today. This was nothing that was on my radar as far as what I was going to go do in life. But it's now being able to turn around and motivate individuals such as yourselves, inspire individuals such as yourselves, or all the other places I get to go, and to show people that just because challenges come, that life doesn't stop.
Awesome. It looks like we are out of time for questions. So thank you so much, Clark, for coming and giving us a presentation again. You're definitely a very inspirational speaker, and we love having you here at Business Week. Students, let's all unmute and say a big thank you for him for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome day.
Thank you.